This episode of Capes and Lunatics is brought to you by Tweaked Audio. Get awesome headphones, go to tweakedaudio.com and use the coupon code Southgate to get 30% off, free shipping, and a lifetime warranty. Or you can get there through the link on our website, southgatemediagroup.com.
This is Luca Perich, and you're listening to the Capes and Lunatics podcast.
Sorry, the app
Just waiting for the music, but that's okay.
Well, the app closed.
The app closed. That's okay. We're having problems with recording has started. Hello, dear listeners, and welcome once again to the Connections of Supremacy. That is super connectivity, a superior connection, if you will. That is why it's called super connectivity, Tristan. I'm your host, Charlie, the Professor Esser. Says so right on the box. I profess things, so I am a professor. Yeah, it's okay. Not most people don't. And then, of course, joining me as always is the blue-eyed bomber from the Burg of Pitts,
Phil Perich.
Welcome back, Philip, to this delightful show and this delightful moment. Oh, goodness. So, Philip, I know you're not watching the new DuckTales.
I saw the first couple episodes, but then I know, Luke and I kind of lost interest. But, I know the bare minimum. I saw the first couple.
Okay, have you seen the old DuckTales? Tristan wanted to know.
Yes, I did.
Okay, so he does know he is familiar with the old DuckTales. That's not going to help you much in the new DuckTales because this is... It's a remake. Well, it's not really a sequel. It's a remake, and it's taking... Well, yeah, it does have the old characters like Duckworth, but now Duckworth's a ghost, and Duckworth's character is kind of the central theme that we're working through here. You see, Duckworth's evil.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, yes, he does have a demonic form, which we know. So for those who have watched it, you will see there is a demonic form for Duckworth.
It's actually
it's
actually shown in every single episode in the start of it.
Yes, at the start of it, every single episode, you do see a demonic form that Duckworth has. Now, what's interesting about this is that, okay, for those of you who don't recall Duckworth from the old TV show, yeah, Tristan really has never actually seen the old show, so he really has no idea who Duckworth is beyond what he's seen now. But he was your classic Jarvis, Alfred kind of character.
Mm-hmm.
Your Jeeves, your typical butler. Although he was not. This was back before it was important that your butler have a backstory. They used to kill people for a living. You know. Yeah. Well, no, that's how they've reintegrated that into the story. So.
Yeah, it seems like
so for those of you,
the current storytelling, your butler had to have this big elaborate life before it came to work for you. It couldn't just be a butler his whole life.
Yes. Nowadays, if you're a butler, it is only because after murdering thousands of people, you have come to understand that the one true joy you could ever know would be in ironing rich men's underwear. That is your raison d'etre.
And cleaning their toilet bowls.
Yes, absolutely. Well, to be fair, when you go to that Pennyworth, you see, like Uncle Owen before him, reaching out to poor Pennyworth to say, look, we are butlers. We buttle. This is what the Pennyworths do. Don't pursue this life of adventure that you think you want. It will only lead to sorrow. And it does. And he only finds true happiness when he returns to buttling. Just as Rey united all aspects of the Force when she returned to the moisture farm. Because in the simple moisture farming is all wisdom found. Yeah, tried to warn Luke, don't go off on some crazy space adventure. Stay here. We got a good moisture farm.
Yeah,
It's a good living.
Just let the Death Star blow everything up. Yeah.
Really? Was the Death Star going to blow? Like, there wasn't a rebellion outside of this?
Yeah, but would anyone else have made that shot, though?
Well, gee, I don't know. Was there some other Force-sensitive, highly notable person in the rebellion at the time? Was there maybe a daughter of Anakin Skywalker available for that moment?
Yeah, but she didn't seem to be in touch with the Force at that point.
Oh, she's a Skywalker. They're always in touch with the Force. They're like the Tridactyls. It's just natural for them. Because as Luke says, he was bullseyeing womp rats in his T3 back home, and they're not more than 1 meter.
Oh, speaking of, Monday is Star Wars Day, remember?
That's what they say, and Disney will sue you if you use May the 4th be with you, because they're saying that's theirs. Or no, to be more specific, if you tweet May the 4th be with you with another tweet, that is your tacit acknowledgement that you give Disney all rights to that tweet to retweet and to reshare in all medias throughout the universe in perpetuity.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're evil. For those, this just in, Disney evil. There's your drop, Lilith. Yes.
Disney evil.
In breaking news, Disney is evil. Which we knew, but that's okay. But that's an issue I want to get into, because actually that does tie in. Disney being evil kind of ties into our new DuckTales quite dramatically.
Ooh.
Because, so, as I've done some rewatches of the recent series of DuckTales, one thing that, there's a Christmas episode they did that has Scrooge revisiting the past, as he does, because apparently the ghosts of Christmas past visited Scrooge in error. And they like Scrooge. He's fun. He's a great guy to hang out with. And because of that, they only visit him every Christmas now. They don't help any other billionaires to find the true meaning of Christmas. They'd rather hang out with Scrooge. Which is a whole other like cosmological concept, which is like, wow, so they're not helping anyone else anymore? It's like, what were these guys' purpose anymore? But anyway, so, but in that, they go back to the first McDuck Industries Christmas party, where there is a scene where Duckworth is basically explaining to Scrooge his role as a billionaire now, that he has a role within the structure of society, and then brings him to the vultures, who we know are Scrooge's accountants, to introduce them to say, you need to mingle and build your business relationships. Now, it was kind of a shock when we saw that, oh, look at that. The vultures that we see early on, and I think the first episode of the new DuckTales, are actually members of Fowl. In fact, are the leaders of Fowl. And to be fair, one of the running themes of this current Fowl is they do not like big things. They don't want a big story. They don't want a big flashy explosion. They want to keep their larceny quiet. The Fiendish Organization of World Larceny is a quiet organization. They don't want rays. They don't want lasers. They don't want things. They don't want to be supervillains. They want to very subtly, very quietly manipulate the world to gain advantage for themselves. Now, how does this tie into Scrooge McDuck, the world's richest duck? Well, we know he is inherently associated with Fowl because they're his accountants, which also tells us that his day-to-day money management when he's not off adventuring, like some Goldie Gold or Action Jack, is being handled by Fowl. He has essentially turned over the entire money bin to the most evil organization in the Duckiverse.
Uh-huh.
Now, we see that Duckworth makes the introduction. Now, during I think it's called the Shadow War episodes, when all hope is lost and everyone looks like they're going to die, Duckworth tells the others, you guys wait here, I'll go prepare a place for you in the afterlife. And then he goes downward. And Ms. Beakley at the time makes the point, I hope that's not a bad portent that he went down instead of up. But I think it was a bad portent that he went down instead of up. Because, as has been pointed out to me about Scrooge McDuck, you don't get to be that rich being a good person. You know, unless you're Gladstone Gander. Gladstone Gander will luck into it because he is, maybe not the nicest person, but he doesn't wish anyone any particular ill. And he's not trying to make money. He's just very lucky. So when we see a Scrooge who has disdain for that, devil-may-care, positive attitude, the attitude of, if you will, the lilies of the field, who work not, neither do they toil, yet are always provided for. That implies there may be a deeper darkness to Scrooge McDuck than we know. We may be approaching a rose quartz level heel turn with Uncle Scrooge by the end of this. Because at the end of this, there may be a point where Fowl essentially explains to Scrooge, do you think that money in your bin is there because of altruism, of charity, of good works? Uncle Scrooge, let's be honest here. Will you give up all that wealth to thwart us? Will you give up the material world that you claim to desire for us? I don't know if you will. That's the thing. I think that what we're really looking at here is the last adaptation of Scrooge McDuck.
Can I just say, I know you've kind of already said it, but like this version is kind of more dark and in depth. It's like, what happened to the fun-loving DuckTales we got in our youth?
Well, that's there too. But you see, Philip, the thing about modern day cartoons is kids are way smarter than you and I were as kids.
Sure.
Look, you've seen
the internet.
Well, literally, you think about all the data that Luca has absorbed in his, 20 years of life that he's had. How old is he now? I don't know.
7.
But I think you will agree that Luca is probably smarter than you were at his age.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. And I know my kids are certainly smarter than I ever was. And that's the reality, is that kids want to be engaged on a deeper level. Like you and me, we were happy to be talked down to because, honestly, we didn't know any better.
Look at that duck swim through the money.
It was classic. Ducks and money. Two great things that just go great together. And the thing about DuckTales is, there is this, and don't get me wrong. It's not a rose quartz level darkness yet.
Okay.
But then again, Steven Universe was cat fingers, the second episode. It's like, it takes a little time to get to. Now, of course, cat fingers, leads to eventually a body horror. I'm turning into a million cats, which sounds way nicer than it is. this, and this gets into something that's, I think, is central to a lot of what we're going to be looking at here, which is that I don't think modern cartoons want to be contained to one cartoon. There's an interesting note in another Cartoon Network property called Craig of the Creek, where Craig of the Creek, they have cookie cats. Now, for those who don't recall, the first episode of Steven Universe centers around cookie cats, which were discontinued in the Steven Universe universe. And in the first time we're introduced to them, we get their jingle, which is sort of the tale of the crystal gems, which is, great new treat from outer space, yada, yada, yada. A refugee from an interstellar war. He left his family behind. Which then they say, I don't remember that in the original jingle because it's just how weird they get in Steven Universe. But at the very end of that scene in the original, Steven says to Cookie Cat, I didn't know you were evil the whole time. Now, of course, as Steven Universe has evolved, we eventually came to understand that Rose Quartz, the refugee from the Interstellar War, was in fact evil the whole time, much like Cookie Cat. Now, in Craig of the Creek, Cookie Cat exists as a confection, but it also is still readily available, which suggests that Craig of the Creek exists in a parallel universe to the Steven universe, because in this universe, Cookie Cats are still readily available. This goes into Uncle Grandpa as the tie between all Cartoon Network universes, as sort of a Q-like Beyonder character that can move between alternate timelines of the Cartoon Network universe. And for what it's worth, there is already established a Cartoon Network universe, because we did have a crossover between both Powerpuff Girls and Teen Titans.
Yep.
And prior to that, we had a crossover with Samurai Jack, Powerpuff Girls, and Dexter's Lab. And I believe there was a third one. It might have been Ed, Edd and Eddy. So the Cartoon Network multiverse is well established. It's well established that you can move between them. And it is likewise established that they are all interrelated. Tying that into that deeper DC-verse really expands it out in a neat way. Now, over at Disney, we have right now a DuckTales-averse in which we have created the Rescue Rangers and created, well, Goof Troop existed, but also Goofy was established as a friend of Donald's in that, suggesting that the Goof Troop universe is active within the DuckTales universe. As we know, St. Canard is a world within Duckburg, that Duckburg and St. Canard exist in the same universe. Interestingly enough, again, going back to that first McDuck Industries Christmas party, old Pa Beagle, before Ma Beagle was in charge of the Beagle Boys, comes in and says he's gonna steal Beagleburg back from Scrooge McDuck, suggesting that McDuck made Duckburg, that was previously Beagleburg, as a haven for ducks, which is a massive story point if it follows through from this. And of course, this is this question within the entire Disney cartoon universe: how dark are they going to go? Are they going to go full Rose Quartz? And so far, they've kind of been hinting at it that they just might. Now, of course, in proper Disney fashion, they may pull back at the last minute and say, no, we're not going to go that evil.
No.
We are going to have a redemption arc for Scrooge, and it's going to have a happily ever after. We're going to, because since we've already established time-traveling spirits of the ghosts of Christmas past, present, and yet to come. Maybe we're going to build something out here. We certainly already have gummy bears as in essence introduced, but we also now have the Rescue Rangers, which are an interesting wild card, especially because what is interesting about this story, the Agent 00 Duck story, is that we see the other Rescue Rangers are also lab rats, and they don't have clothes yet. After they're exposed to the ray, we see Gadget gets her costume. Later, and this is what I think is the interesting thing is, we don't see any of the other clearly Rescue Rangers characters, the other rodents, get their powers. Now, in classic Disney universe characters, Chip and Dale were sentient wild woodchucks. If you ever see it's a great short. It's where Donald Duck is selling nut butter. And if you want quality nut butters, go to Donald Duck. And Chip and Dale want to steal his nut butters because, it's nut butter. Who wouldn't want nut butter? And you get this idea of this world where there is a dominant species, the ducks, and then the rodentia are much like in Zootopia, sentient, but that unlike Zootopia, they aren't treated as equals in society, probably because they don't wear clothes. Now, when exposed to the device that has Gadget put on clothes for the first time, it increases her intelligence exponentially, but she also puts on clothes. Similar, if you will, to Eve in the Garden of Eden and Adam, once they eat from the fruit of the tree of knowledge, sewing fig leaves into clothing. Because they had no concept of shame before they gained a level of intellect that allowed them to know the difference between good and evil. Since we don't see Monterey Jack, Chip, and Dale get that, but we later see them clothed, we can imply that it is Gadget as the Rescue Rangers Eve who takes the already sentient rodentia and teaches them to wear clothes. Now, when Launchpad at the end absorbs the mind-dumbing powers of the ray, of the stupid ray that was going to be sent by Steelbeak, you see that it gives a secondary burst outside, clearly covering the whole city, maybe even the whole world. But because the dumbness was absorbed by Launchpad, it's arguable that intellect then went out to all of the other lower species and gave them that desire to wear clothes, which gives us this secondary world that we see in Rescue Rangers, where there is, yes, a dominant, in that case, humanoid life form that rules the world, but that the rodentia do wear clothes and do have a secondary sub-society. Now, what's interesting is that, as we know, the rodentia were already sentient. They just didn't wear clothes until this moment occurs. Until the I forget which eye it is. It's some sort of jewel that they call an eye, and it gives you the intellect. So it's an interesting take on some biblical prophecies and some biblical ideas that goes into what we're building in that Disney universe. Now, on the other side of the Disney universe is the Owl House, which is related tangentially, we assume, to Gravity Falls, because there is a character in that called King, who is voiced by the actor who played Bill Cipher, and says he is the Lord of Demons and his life is a living hell. Because although he knows he is the Lord of Demons, he is basically a cat and is powerless in this form. Which, if we go into the deep lore of Gravity Falls, tells us that Bill Cipher can have a redemption arc, but first he must accept the consequences of his crimes and, essentially must face the punishment for them. And I think that's what we're seeing in the Owl House. I think that the Owl House is going to be the punishment of Bill Cipher, and we may eventually get a Bill Cipher reveal, or we may not. In fact, I can fully see the idea that it will be strongly implied and maybe even lead up to a moment where King may see that there is a Bill Cipher that he once was, that he could reclaim, and then he turns away to save Luz and Edna. Because Edna? No, I think it's Edda. I don't think there's an Ed. I don't think it's Edna. I think it's Edda. I don't know. I'll have to watch it again. We're gonna, whether or not you pronounce the N or not, I'm not sure. But I can see him turning away from that evil in that ultimate scene at the end of Owl House, because that was his journey. He had to realize that what he sought to be as Bill Cipher, the Demon Lord, is not the path forward that he would learn as King, the house pet. And in that structure, we can look back then on Scrooge McDuck when he comes to that moment of realizing that he might have to give up his treasure to thwart Fowl. He may choose to say, then I will give up my treasure, because I built my treasure from nothing, and I will do it again, or I will simply survive. But better that I survive as an honest man. Better to be an honest poor man than a corrupt billionaire. And I think that will be the moral arc that we're going to see in DuckTales. But we'll see what those guys at Disney decide to do. Anyway, that's my big thing on cartoons right now. I'm watching a lot of cartoons, as you may have noticed. Doing a lot of deep dives into this stuff because it is deep and wonderful and fun. Do we want to talk Diamond and Marvel, or we want to get out of here?
No, I mean we could talk. Well, do you want to do Diamond, or do you want to do the whole AMC versus Universal? Or
well, okay, I think they all tie in together.
Okay.
So Universal made a statement that said, "Look, we made a lot of money off of Trolls."
Oh yeah.
Although,
I think
to be fair,
for video on demand, yeah.
To be fair, they made a lot of money off of Trolls because they're the only ones who sold it. Let me put it this way: if Disney had said, "Okay, yeah, we're going to do Black Widow that way too," no one would even know what Trolls would have had the box office that they would have had.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's like Trolls had a great box office expressly because of expressly because no one else was going to challenge them, because no one else really wanted to rock that boat. Because, for what it's worth, I think Disney needs movie theaters.
Yeah.
That multi-billion-dollar blockbuster doesn't necessarily come from just video on demand. You need to get that big blockbuster. You need to get everyone into the event. You need to sell the popcorn. You need to have all those people coming in to make it worthwhile, to make the money off of it.
Plus, you probably have a segment of your population, mostly probably older people, who probably don't know or aren't interested in streaming and stuff. That what do they know going to the theater?
I mean, yeah, but are those people going to see Trolls?
Oh, I thought we were talking about Black Widow.
Even Black Widow. I mean, really, is there a big septuagenarian? I mean, technically, I guess there could be a big septuagenarian Black Widow following.
I'm talking
He
like
has been around since the 60s, after all.
yeah. But I mean, there's like 50 or 60-year-olds. Some of them might not be into the streaming.
Really? I don't know. Every 50 to 60-year-old I know grew up in like the 70s and 80s at the height of the technological boom. So I'm just saying, man, I'm getting the ARP emails now. So yeah, 46. I know, but I also know that guys older than me that are my friends, they're way more internet savvy than even I am. So
okay. All right. How about this? There may be people who can't afford streaming services who will go to the theater.
yeah, except streaming services are actually technically cheaper than the theater. Even if you charge me $20,
Yeah.
when you factor in popcorn and soda, you're still coming out ahead.
Yeah.
And it's all profit. That's the thing. It's like I think that Disney wants to still have blockbusters. I think that one of the main things about why you're getting this fight between Regal and AMC and Universal is that these were three people that could fight on this subject. It's basically it's weight classed.
Yeah.
Universal, if Universal walks away and never releases another film, it's not necessarily gonna be the death knell for Universal because they weren't making tentpoles.
And I mean, this is a weird time. I know this hurt the theaters and stuff, but again, this is Trolls. This is like a kids movie. I mean, this wasn't like Fast and the Furious.
Well, exactly, but it was also the only thing that was out.
Yeah,
it was new content that was a known property that was family friendly.
Mm-hmm.
That had a McDonald's toy tie-in.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was a blockbuster film. And essentially, by being the only blockbuster out there, got to be a blockbuster even in the COVID scenario, expressly because it was a known entity. It was something that a certain portion of people were waiting for. And because there were a portion of people waiting for it, they aggregated out to the rest of the community who wanted something to do.
Yeah, exactly.
And so everyone said, well, let's download this dang Trolls. Let's see what that's about, Poor Artemis Fowl, who is getting a similar treatment, I don't think is going to break it because Artemis Fowl is a new property. I don't think it already has a lot of negativity in the fan community. I think that's more like a New Mutant. You want to just bury it.
What I was going to say is that because didn't they do that with was that Onward or whatever that didn't get this kind of
well Onward got a theater release.
Oh, did it?
And yes, it got because it came out just before the theaters all closed.
Okay.
So it existed. It was in the theaters, and then they released it on demand, and it made a lot of money. It actually did very well. It much like Trolls, it did very well.
Oh yeah.
But again, because it was the only thing out there, and also to its credit, I'm going to say, Onward is a Pixar Disney production. It is really good to watch. It has all the feels. I mean, maybe not Last Unicorn level feels, but still a lot of feels. And so, yeah, so people saw that, they watched that, they enjoyed that, and they paid for that. And that is what Onward was. But Disney isn't standing up and saying, well, maybe we'll do all of our films this way, or maybe we'll do a lot more direct. First off, Disney already has a direct-to-video market. There's lots of things Disney is going to just do as direct pay-per-view, direct to Disney Plus streaming. Because even Onward, it was on demand briefly, and then it almost immediately went to Disney Plus, which is, for what it's worth, a standard cash cow. Mm-hmm. Where, doesn't matter what they put on it, it's always going through, Oh, yeah. It's all my $10 is going to them every month regardless. So they're fine with that, But yeah, that is the inherent structure of this fight between AMC, Regal, and Universal. Is there are three people that can have this fight. Here's what I'll say: if Disney said, "You know what? Yeah, we're going to go straight to video. a lot more. AMC isn't going to say boo. Because they need Disney as much as Disney needs them.
Oh, yeah.
And along those same lines, Disney probably isn't ever going to say that, even if they might be thinking about it.
Yeah.
Because Disney needs those theaters.
They'll never admit it.
Well, exactly. They'll never admit it. And for those things they think can go direct-to-video, they'll release direct-to-video. So Disney may be thinking, yeah, you know what, let's restructure our slate. Who can go Disney Plus? Who can go Hulu? Who can go video on demand?
Yeah.
And who needs a theater release?
Yeah.
And telling that, they're still sticking that Black Widow needs theater, which of course tells you that Black Widow is probably very important to the overarching storyline of the next phase of Avengers.
Oh, yeah.
Or So
you
maybe
realize,
we'll get a Reed Richards reference in there.
You realize today was the day Black Widow was supposed to come out, right?
I did not realize that.
Yep.
But I barely know that today's today. Okay, Tristan, you can only play the game. Our TV is dying, so Tristan is having a hard time with it.
Yeah, it's May 1st, so it's the first Friday in May. So yeah, Black Widow.
That would have been yes. Yeah. So yes, that is how the first Friday in May, when it falls on May 1st, May Day. Oh, and that's so appropriate because it's a Russian film. And Mayday's huge in Russia. So that makes perfect sense, and they didn't get to do it. So that's sad. Makes me sad. In fact, I'll wager there probably were like several Mayday references in it that are going to get missed when it comes out in November.
I just hope it doesn't push back the Disney Plus stuff like Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Well, it kind of has pushed the cinematic stuff back.
Oh, yeah, all the movies are back. Yeah, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, well, you know what the problem is? The problem with that is that so the TV stuff never gives us what we want.
Yeah.
But we're like, oh, they could introduce this, and then this, and then this, and then this. It's like, and they do stuff, but never at the level of what the movies do.
Yeah.
So like their importance will usually be at best a trailing influence, but always when we're anticipating it, when we know what's coming and we know what's about to come out on Disney Plus, we always think they're going to spoil it in the TV show, which is a ridiculous assumption for us to make all the time. And yet we always do, Philip. We always do.
Well, didn't they say the Disney Plus series were going to be more connected to the movies than, say, like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Well, yeah. Wow. I mean, I don't know how much that means.
Well, I mean, Feige's in charge of all now, though, too.
Well, yeah. And so let me put it to you this way. Every book that Marvel puts out is in its connected Marvel comic book universe.
Mm-hmm.
But everyone knows that for a very long time, the mutants were in their kind of world, faced mutant problems.
On their own island, you could say.
Well, now they're on an island.
Yeah, they're literally on an island.
But for the longest time, it's like, there were a lot of things that happened in the X books that really never, as an example, the mutant, although Mutant Registration was a company-wide event, the Mutant Massacre really didn't get outside of the X books very much.
Uh-uh.
Which is kind of a telling, interesting point that, there was kind of a whole genocide against mutants back in the 90s or the late 80s. And you go, really? Never heard about that. Yeah, I know. That's because you're not a mutant. And
to be fair, most of it took place down in the sewer, so it was kind of hidden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Sunday hole.
Yeah.
But was that Apocalypse or was that was Apocalypse? That wasn't Mr. Sinister.
No, I believe that was Mr. Sinister because because it was the Marauders because he kept cloning the Marauders. Sound familiar? Recloning the Marauders would die. He kept recloning them. Sound familiar?
Yeah, well, and everyone thinks he's cool to be on Krakoa. So, did he clone Krakoa?
Oh!
Are all the X-Men in like little vats somewhere?
That's what I'm thinking. I don't know. That's what I'm thinking. The real X-Men are in stasis somewhere. That's what I'm thinking.
Are they gonna freaking Bobby Ewing the X-Men?
I told you. I've told you this over and over. The X-Men are in stasis somewhere. They're waiting to see what Disney puts on the big screen for X-Men. The X-Men will take that form. Right now, you just got a bunch of clones running around, filling time. And
yeah. But remember when Bobby Ewing steps out of the shower and like, oh no, that whole last season, that never happened?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it all happens but it's all going to be clones, so.
Mm-hmm.
They're Rick and Mortying it. That was Earth A111B. This is Earth A111C.
Oh, no, it'll be 616, but they're all clones,
Yeah, well, everyone, as I always say, everyone thinks they're in the 616 until they're not.
They're gonna be
until they see that big "What If" banner,
They're just gonna be like, oh, see, we could pull one over on you. No, we knew something was up. Come on.
Oh man, that would be I cannot wait for the first "What If" that Gwenpool is in. It's like, what? Oh, is this a what if? Oh. What if Gwenpool did what now? Oh. It just have her be like all annoyed. Doesn't matter. This is just a what if, This is an alternate universe.
Oh, they've done it with like the Punisher and Deadpool. You could do like a Gwenpool kills the Marvel universe. She would know their weaknesses, right?
Of course, she knows all their weaknesses. Of course, it's still hard to kill people. Of course, she knows the Punisher's weakness. Bullets. Yeah. Actually, a lot of people's weakness is actually bullets.
Oh yeah.
Captain America's weakness too.
Spider-Man, Daredevil, yeah.
Yeah, Spider-Man, Daredevil, they're bullets. They're really good. So it's sort of taking it back to Onward. That's sort of like the shtick of Onward. Wasn't that the reason why magic left the world wasn't because of some tragic loss? It's like oh wait, we could just instead of learning how to cast magic missile, we could actually just fire a missile at someone. That's way more efficient. Yeah, well, that's the story. Oh, anyway, Philip. Yeah, but interconnected universes, that's the thing. That's what Marvel taught everyone, really. That people want to see their characters interact with other characters. They want to see that Marvel interconnected universe. They want to see the DC interconnected universe, which is why DC is struggling, because they don't want to connect their universes, and they don't know how to Incredible Hulk it yet. I think that's their problem. And to be fair, it's mostly because they blew their Incredible Hulk on their Superman, which is just, it's ridiculous. That's the problem with DC, is that, oh, we have Superman, so let's make Superman movies. It's like, maybe you should figure out what you want to do first, and then make your Superman, make that your capstone, not your starter.
How about maybe not having Superman snap in someone's neck in the first movie?
I mean, yeah, or just, I mean, in all honesty, why the Kryptonians wanted to make the planet like Krypton was weird to start with. Because, what if we made this world where instead of being omnipotent gods, we were just normal mortal men?
Yeah. Well, remember, they had the trouble breathing and stuff. They had the Kryptonian asthma. Yeah.
Superman doesn't have Kryptonian asthma.
I know. I guess
maybe that's something you worked through. You ever think of that?
He did, because he grew up here. Remember, I think Zod after a while started breathing normally. You exactly.
It's like, well, what are we? It's like, why are people making these very big life decisions on the fly? I think that's the problem with DC. They make too many decisions on the fly.
Oh yeah,
and their characters reflect that. They said, what if we met Lex Luthor, just a crazy hippie guy? Give him long red hair and have him go.
Again, don't have Superman snapping necks in the first one. It's have the impact. Say, you take the first movie, build him up to show him to be the ultimate good guy. So then when he has to snap the neck in the second movie, it has more of an impact.
Yeah, well, but then again, And this was kind of a interesting point. Someone had posted on Facebook about Zack Snyder's films. Oh yeah, he always have people attacking bullies. So maybe that's why jerks don't like it. Except that it's like, well, no. What he does wish fulfillment where you get to be the bully.
Yeah,
and that's the problem, is that they have Superman being a bully. Whether it's the guy whose truck he smashes, and granted, in Superman 2, we get that a bit, where he goes back and beats up the guy.
Yeah.
But then again, he doesn't destroy the guy's truck. He just says, remember how you beat up on me because you were strong? Well, I'm strong now, and let me make you feel a little humiliated.
He basically pushes the guy down the counter into the pinball machine, but he also pays for all the damage, too.
Exactly, because he's Superman.
Exactly.
You wouldn't just do that. He doesn't destroy the guy's livelihood. He doesn't destroy his truck, which is a trucker's livelihood, Literally, you might as well break a pitcher's arm. That is where it gets bad. If all you think about superheroes is the wish fulfillment of superheroes, if I was the Juggernaut, I would be unstoppable. If I was Professor X, Jean Grey would totally be into me. I didn't write it.
I know.
I'm just saying, and that's the problem. It's like when you make your heroes villains, then they become villains, and then it's not as good of a story,
Yep.
But then again, people like Joker because he's a cluster B narcissist.
The Joker Harley Quinn romances, these emos who want to be.
Though that's coming to sci-fi, they say, and it's the empowered, the empowered Harley. We're gonna get it. So we're gonna get like last season now.
Yeah.
For the rest of us plebes on sci-fi.
I cannot wait. I didn't watch today's episode. I cannot wait because supposedly they make fun of the people who say release the Snyder cut of Justice League.
Yeah,
there's supposedly a Snyder cut joke in there. I can't wait to watch.
I hear that is the gag too. And to be fair, it's like, and there's also an anti-Star Wars thing. Raise it. Oh yeah, there's something about The Last Jedi and people not liking The Last Jedi for reasons. I mean, there are reasons to not like The Last Jedi. There are reasons not to like any Star Wars film, quite frankly. As I've always said, they're not really that good of films from an individual cinematic storytelling standpoint. They're really not any more than, great Saturday. They're not more than the work that inspired them. Indiana Jones, Star Wars, they're all inspired by these old serials and this old idea of watching these fun films of adventure.
I mean, Star Wars is basically one bloodline just messing up the galaxy. And what's that theory about the first Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark, that whether Indiana Jones had shown up or not, the same thing would have happened? The Nazis opened the Ark of the Covenant and just died.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You know what? What is important about Indiana Jones, and this, of course, is this is the point of any story. It's not the destination; it's the journey.
Yeah.
He has a hero's journey, and yes, he's witness to the thing, and he has the secret knowledge that saves him in that moment. But yeah, they would have opened it to be occultists and probably gotten killed by the arc of the people they're currently committing genocide against.
Yeah.
One of those weird things where it's like, how is this a good idea? I get the idea that maybe we should find the Ark of the Covenant and secure it somewhere so that no one uses it against us. Although the last people who did that had plagues and boils visited upon them, if you actually read the Bible.
Who touched the Ark of the Covenant?
There's a whole storyline in the Bible where basically
right now, who touched the Ark of the Covenant?
Well, right. Oh, well, I guess Donald Trump did. Well, you know what he probably said? That scene with the top men? I want to go to that top men place. Get me to that top men place. It's like, really? We don't think it's a good idea for you to go to the top men place, Mr. President. I'm the president. I want to go to the top men place. Where are the top men?
It's important. So important.
They take him to the top men place. He says, where's that thing? The thing from the movie. And, like, we didn't know that was real, but he thought it was real. And, and so he goes, he said, but, we actually locked it away for a reason because it's a highly dangerous mystical artifact. And if you actually read the Bible, it says that those who desecrate it and take it from its rightful place are visited on numerous plagues. Yeah, so I think that explains 2020 now. Donald Trump went to the top men place, found the Ark of the Covenant, and touched it, and released. And because he's still our president, we've got to deal with that. So until he gets conquered as president, we're kind of stuck here. Which I think we knew. I think we all know that at this point, but yeah.
Right.
So no, but it is, and I can't remember. It's in Exodus? Yeah, I think it's no. It can't be in Exodus. Is it in Leviticus? No, it can't be in Leviticus.
China.
But yeah, the Ark of the Covenant gets taken away from Israel for a period, but the people who steal it, of course, get visited upon by plagues because they aren't the chosen people of God, and wackiness ensues. Was that in Judges? I don't know. Might have been in Judges. Maybe it's one of the books of Judges. No, it had to be one of the King's books. Yeah, it's been a long time since I've read the Bible. So
yeah, me too.
Yeah, no. Right now I'm trying to get through Conan. So, anyway, where were we now? So, interconnected universes, DC, and DC is like AMC is kind of sticking their thumb in the eye of Diamond.
Yep.
But Marvel said, no, Diamond's fine. Which you might think is a failure by Marvel to say, oh, they're maintaining the status quo. But actually what they're doing is saying, well, no, we're just making sure that there is still competition here. Because if Marvel left Diamond, then Diamond was dead. And whatever DC had built would be all that there was. And so by Marvel staying with Diamond, it's essentially keeping Diamond alive, putting Marvel as the show pony at Diamond, to basically give them, basically first fruits at Diamond, to exert their monopolistic tendencies with Diamond. Meanwhile, it isn't a monopoly now because someone else has set up another distribution line that Marvel can take advantage of as it sees fit. That's the fun side of that. Is that Disney Publishing might decide, oh, you know what? Let's put out some Disney Publishing comics separate from Marvel, and we'll go use that DC line for that DC distribution method for that, so that Disney can play both sides against the middle, because Disney is not fast to act.
Do you think they're letting DC be the canary in the coal mine and seeing if they, if it is this going to blow up in DC face or not?
Well, no. What they're letting DC be DC, yeah. Which is, what, DC is going to just decide stuff on the fly, jump into
That's
things.
What I'm saying.
Yeah, but the thing is that it always blows up in DC's face.
Yeah,
anyway.
That's what I'm saying. But I mean, Disney, they wait, they see, okay, if it's successful, maybe we'll roll something out like this out later. But if it blows up in their face, hey, we were the ones who sat here and said, oh no, we love Diamond.
Yeah, well, and to be fair, they didn't say we love Diamond.
No, we love the comic book.
They just stores. Well, what they said was, no, we'll start releasing at coincidentally the same time that Diamond is.
Oh, they're still going through Diamond, yeah.
Yeah, but it's a different. So DC started distributing because DC said when they were going to distribute after Diamond said they were going to go back. Mm-hmm. So Diamond said they're going to come back end of May. DC said we're going to be back end of April, and they're back apparently. In fact, my comic book guy said, yeah, we've got these Batman reprints that just came, so if that's on your list, we have
I was going to
them.
say, mostly this week, I think it was just reprints. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just reprints. And, and when Marvel comes back, it's mostly reprints again. I don't think there's any new content coming out from Marvel that first week, end of May. I think they don't get new stuff, I think, until the second week of June is the Captain America book. I think that's the first new book they're releasing, the Ta-Nehisi Coates, if I'm recalling correctly. Unless Avengers 33 is a new book. But I thought that might be a reprint. But so Disney is playing their cards close to their vest as always, and DC is running out there trying to sort of make their own way, and maybe making a misstep, or maybe making a misstep just right. Because if DC comes out on top from this, that's great for DC, and then other people can join in on this distribution model that DC has set up. But by keeping Diamond open, which is essentially what Marvel is doing. Marvel is saying, we're going to keep Diamond going. Because they lost DC, but if we stay at Diamond, then Diamond can still be a going concern, which means that everyone else can use Diamond still too. Mm-hmm. So that now what you have is you actually have a duopoly, if not an oligopoly, between Diamond and the two structures that DC set up. So you actually have now, for the first time ever, an actual competitive comic book distribution marketplace. So that's an interesting thing to come out of all of this.
Wait and see.
Well, that's all we can do, because none of us are in charge of making these decisions.
Nothing has happened yet.
Nothing has happened yet with regard to... Oh, he's in Fortnite. The event has not started in Fortnite at this time, 10:35 p.m. on Friday, May 1st.
It said that it would happen in 30 minutes a few minutes ago.
Yeah, so it said it was going to be 30 minutes from now, a few minutes ago. Now Tristan said it's Philware, so apparently you're a thing now, Phil. You're Philware. Ooh. I don't know. I guess that's because it fills them in. Or maybe it's just meant to be that it's filler, so it's Philware, meaning that it's just an empty world that you jump in. Anyway, Phil, anything else you want to talk about tonight?
No, I think we're good.
I think we're good too. So, how can people find you if they need to?
Well, if you want to get a hold of me personally, you can always email me, nightwingpdp@gmail.com. On Twitter, I am @nightwingpdp.
And, of course, we'd like you all to help out our sponsors, Tweaked Audio, makers of fine audio devices. Phil says I said Beats Audio previously. I don't know if that's true, but I will say this. If I did say Beats Audio, hey, Beats, we gave you one for free. So, if that worked for you, maybe come on back. Just saying. First taste is free. And, if you ever wanted to hunt a killer yourself, you can subscribe to Hunt a Killer. And, of course, pick up Pod Life the book, which you can get on Amazon, which, if you're looking for Amazon stuff, just scroll down those little show notes. We got a little link there. It's going to take you to Amazon, and you can buy your stuff. And they let you know that, hey, you know what? Charlie and Phil told you to buy stuff from Amazon. And if we're endorsing Amazon... it's not here right now, so we can do that. It's a fine quality product. Hey, Philip, if someone would like to call us and leave us a message on our voicemail, how could they do that?
I'm so glad you asked, Charlie Esser. They can always call the voicemail 24/7 at 614-382-2737. If you want to remember, that's 614-38-CAPES.
Well, great, but, not everyone likes to do that. So what if they wanted to email you directly about something?
Well, I gave my personal email, but you can always email the show at capesandlunatics@gmail.com.
Okay, see, I did not realize you had already given your personal email, so I now sound like a fool.
And we're all over the social media. Yeah.
Yes, well, if you'd like to write to me in that old-fashioned email way, the way our Ma's and Pa's once did, You can do so at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, at gmail.com. And of course, follow me on Twitter as I live tweet Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is coming back. And many other things at Charlie Esser. That's CharlieEsscer. Look for the 2 E's in the middle.
For quality. Bing!
Thank you, Maz. And, yeah, that's all the stuff we've done today. We've connected many things superbly, I hope. Please do me a favor, friends and neighbors. Please come back here next week and super connect with us again. Good night.
Good night. Boy, I can't even see Tristan working you from behind like a puppet.
No, he's running back and forth. He is a sprinter, and he's going to be very bad because I'm going to turn off his Fortnite in a minute.
Oh no!
Yeah, well, because I want to watch TV, not Fortnite.
Enough said.
Enough said.